Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. Another episode of the Tarot Solution Shy podcast. I have with me again a super special guest. I'm very, very honored to have her with me tonight. Kimberly Zenobia. She's the owner of Beauty Beads. How are you doing tonight, Kimberly?
I'm doing well, Stephanie. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you so much. So I'm really excited to hear, the message that you have for everyone. So I know that you do a lot of community activism work, and I just wanted to start out with asking, how you started out with that and how that became your passion and your heart to work with the community.
Okay, well, it actually started in 1997 when my sister was murdered. We were looking for her for about 2 weeks, and we couldn't find anyone to help us, so we got in touch with the Nation of Islam, and they came down and they helped us throughout the whole process. And we formed an organization in her name, which was called Divina Duncan Organization. And we did marches, we did parades, we did basketball tournaments, and that's kind of what started my activism work from there.
Okay, and I know that you, I'm sorry to hear that, by the way, but no, thank you for sharing that. So that's very powerful, and that you saw the community come around you at that time. So after, when you had been marching, you continued working with the Nation of Islam. I know you mentioned that you were actually a part of, like, being a part with the Million Man March and those events.
Yes, actually, what happened was when we did the Million Man March, we did the Millions More movement with them in 2005, and I met a few sisters in the nation, and we did the mobilization for the Million Man March 10th anniversary, and we went to Washington, D.C., and from there I just kept doing the activism work with the nation, and then we started working with the police coalitions for police against torture. We did a lot of different organizations we worked with in Chicago, and I still work with some of these organizations now today, sort of like what Black Lives Matter is, but back then it was against police brutality. So, and it was in Chicago with other organizations. So we've worked with different organizations in Chicago and the suburbs, and from there I started my own company, which is BDB's Jewelry.
Okay.
And I work with a group of ladies, which is Nzinga Nomo. She's Afro-Wear bookstore in Maywood, and she's been in her bookstore for 26 plus years now.
Wow.
And so I partnered with her and another manager. Her name is Deshonda, and she also has her own jewelry line, accessories as well, and it's called HBCU Accessories.
Okay.
And so I sell my jewelry out of her bookstore, and I've been doing that now for about 6 years now.
Okay.
So and that's a bookstore that is in Maywood, Illinois, and we've been in Oak Park, Illinois as well. But now our headquarters is on First Avenue in Maywood, Illinois, Suite 400.
Okay.
So, yes.
No, that's beautiful. So I love how, you are all women and supporting each other. And so from the time that you started working in the community until now, do you see a shift, or what are the differences, or the things that you would really want to highlight for the listeners, to be aware of and take, encourage them, to be active in?
Actually, well, right now, because of the pandemic, what we were doing before, we were at Afro-Wear Bookstore, we were having all type of events, which was encouraging women to come and be entrepreneurs. So there's a lot of entrepreneur ladies that have some of their products at that store, and we still sell products out of there. And we also have book signings, we have different events, we have people come in who can rent the space out.
Okay.
And, so I tend to work with a lot of different entrepreneurs, because I find that that's helpful when especially in this pandemic now, with everyone being laid off, it's good to have some type of entrepreneurship, because this way you have something to fall back on. So I'm working with a group of women now with the organization, and it's called Repair, Restore, and Grow Black Communities. Okay. And what we're doing is we are forming a coalition of women that can come together, that can help each other and give resources, so that if they need help with their businesses or if they want to start a business, we are actually doing a fundraiser now.
Wow.
And that's to, to help young people who want to start businesses, because with the job market the way it is now, it's very uncertain that people are even going to be able to go back to work. So that's why we're trying to do our small part in the community. So
I love it.
That's what we're doing now.
So what is the process if any of our listeners, any of the young people are hearing tonight, what would be their first step or the steps that they would need to go, to get involved with what you're doing?
Okay, if they want to get information on how to contribute to the fundraiser, or if they want information on how they may be able to qualify for the grants that we're going to be giving out once we raise the money, they can contact us at 773-322-5675, and that's the Repair, Restore, and Grow Black Communities. And we're located at 1507 East 53rd Street, Suite 414 in Chicago, Illinois.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. So when you're working in the community and when you're working on your own business with the Beauty Beats, what do you feel? Why did you choose jewelry? I'm just curious, because I know from knowing you that you're a very spiritual person, and I've seen your jewelry for you guys. We're going to put the link to check it out. But what is it about the jewelry and everything that kind of drew you to that?
I started making jewelry in 1996, and it was actually just a hobby. It was just like, when people learn how to crochet and sew and different things like that. I just happened to be at work one day, and I was just doing something, and I said, wow, you know what? I said, I'm going to try to make some jewelry. So I went to a jewelry store, and I bought a whole bunch of beads and a whole bunch of supplies and stuff like that. And I just went home, and I just started making bracelets. I started making bracelets first. Then I was making anklets. And then after that, I started making earrings and necklaces.
Okay.
And it was just a hobby. And then I would take some of my jewelry to work with me when I was working in corporate America. I would take some of my jewelry, like some people would sew, and they would bring their, quilts and things like that, or they would be selling Avon.
Yes.
I would, bring my stuff in. And so we would start selling to each other. So I was, show my jewelry, and people was like, oh, wow, that's really nice. And it was like, can you make one for me? And then I just started doing that, and next thing you know, I started selling it. And then in 2013, I decided to actually make it a company. And I got a website, and I started, selling it to different places. I started going to different stores and stuff. And next thing you know, I had it in a couple of stores. And then after that, I just kept doing it. And now I have my jewelry at Afrowear Bookstore, and I really get a lot of compliments on it, so I'm going to keep doing it. And my mother, she helps a lot with it, because she she learned it from me, but then she surpassed me. My mother is she is the designer of the company.
Okay.
Because she makes a lot of the necklaces. She loves to make the necklaces and the earrings, and then I make the bracelets and the anklets. And I used to make belly chains too, but I haven't done those in a while. But I used to make belly chains as well too.
Okay.
So I will always probably continue to do that, because it's very therapeutic for me too. I love to make jewelry, because it's something about making something of your own that you can see that you crafted yourself. And it's just nice to know that I can go into my jewelry box and I'm wearing something that I handmade for myself. And every piece I make is one of a kind. There is not one piece of jewelry that I have made for anyone or sold to anyone that is a duplicate. Every piece that I make, that I make and my mom make, are one of a kind pieces.
No,
and that's really what our whole motto is for our jewelry line, is that it's one of a kind.
That's beautiful. No, definitely. I want the listeners to check it out and support. And the thing that just above all, your kind spirit and your beautiful heart, something that I just think is amazing and awesome is just the way that you're a businesswoman, but you're not. Many people would think of a business person, especially working in corporate America, as like someone cold hearted or just about the money. But like you incorporate your business sense with the community and with other women and with your community and uplifting and I think it's just that's I love it. I just can't say how much I think that that's amazing. So I think talking about the faith in Islam, I know you're familiar with the Prophet. I believe his first wife, Khadijah, she was a businesswoman. So when you talk about a lot of your business, I think about about her, and so it's really cool. I really like what you're doing. So
yeah, I'm very thankful because I feel that it's not just a business. To me, it never started off as a business. It was always something that was spiritual, and it's still something spiritual. I mean, a lot of times I can say throughout the whole process of me starting my business, I've probably given away more jewelry than I've ever sold.
wow.
And it's not always about the selling of the jewelry. It's about how you make a person feel. I've always felt like being a giving person was something that I was blessed. That was something that was always in me to do. So it really isn't about just making money. It really is about changing people's lives and making people feel good about themselves. And I just feel like with my jewelry, I've always touched people in some kind of way, and that was just a way to get to people. I think that I'm being used for so many other things, and I just think that a lot of these things that have happened in my life has just given me more purpose. I think that was, what happened to me, what happened to my sister, all the things that I've gone through in my life, I've been a living testimony to that. Because it's not, to me, it's never really ever been about the jewelry. It's always been about the spiritual journey and how I can help people and find my purpose. And I found my purpose in being an activist and being a designer. And, and there's a lot of other things that I do too. But in everything I do, I feel like it's been a purpose for me to touch people and to help people and to just be inspiring to people. So hopefully I'm doing that, and I thank you for saying that.
Yes, no, I know you definitely inspired me tonight, and I know our listeners. So right out as we're wrapping up, we have about 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. What would you like to say? The places, I know you mentioned a couple of things, but like your website and everything where people can connect with you?
They can connect with me on Facebook. I have Beady Beads Jewelry, and I'll spell that out because I know a lot of times when I say it, people are like, Beady Beads, I know where that comes from. And I'm like, yeah, Beady Beads, because it actually comes from the Martin show when Martin used to talk about Gina. Gina's friend, he'd always talk about Gina's friend. And she would say, Beady Beads, Beady Beads. So that's where Beady Beads came from. But Beady Beads is BEAD Beads, BEADS, Jewelry, BD Beads Jewelry. And that's on Facebook. And then also you can catch me on Instagram, and that's Zenobia Exotic Jewels. That's what my Instagram is. And I'm also on Kimberly Zenobia on Twitter.
Okay. And then for the GoFundMe, for the organization, is there a certain place, or we should just share the link, you think?
Yes. It's the Repair, Restore, and Grow Black Communities, 1507 East 53rd Street, Suite 414, Chicago, Illinois, 60615. The phone number is 773-322-5675. And other women that are on the executive board are Denise Hetherington, Doris Lewis, and Madeline Sanders.
Awesome. Well, thank you again so much for sharing, Kimberly, and God bless
and the Afrowear too. I forgot.
Oh yeah, share about that real quick.
I forgot about the Afrowear. Afrowear bookstore is at 1701 South First Avenue, Suite 400, Maywood, Illinois, 60153. and the phone number there is 708-223-8081, and Nzinga Nomo is the owner, and Deshonda Ratney is the manager, and that is where you can find my pieces of DDB's jewelry there at the bookstore.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kimberly. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and tune in next week, and be blessed. Ashe.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. I appreciate it.
Thank you.